This is how a Monday usually begins for me. It's updating my bullet journal for the week and writing down everything that needs to get done and making sure that bigger projects that I have in mind, I'll make sure that that gets sorted out and so that I can break things into smaller bite-sized chunks. I know that there's some people out there with really impressive, beautiful bullet journals that are really artistic. Mine is definitely more more of a utilitarian thing. But I've been using it for 3 years now, which is the longest I've ever stuck with any kind of organizational thing. So I think I'm going to keep doing it. I've already ordered my 2019 stuff as well, so I'll have to show that to you at some point this month. So this is how a day typically starts for us. We get up and we have some food, and then we walk up into town to take packages to the pack and ship office. It's a pretty short walk. It's, I don't know, maybe 10-minute walk. So we tend to walk. The only times that we don't is if there's an absolute load of packages, or if they're really big, bulky things, like when we do advent calendars, we'll get a lift into one of the closer parking lots. But other than that, we walk all the time, and we go to the pack and ship place. And then we go to the gym, and then I get really crabby about having to be there, and I get really sweaty and red-faced and hate the entire process. And then we do some grocery shopping at one of our many local grocery stores. I know that that's thrilling content, right? Also, I don't know what's going on there. There's a whole bunch of building, and there's the back of my wife's head, and yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of yarn dyeing, which I've been promising you and I haven't been showing you much of because I've been doing a lot of sort of secret collaboration stuff and so on and so forth. Okay, so without my gimbal, this is a little bit more difficult. So what I'm working on today, I am working on an idea that I had that I got from a meme on Facebook that said, when every woman turns 30, she has to choose a subclass, and it was like Earth Witch, Fire Witch, Air Witch, Forest Witch, or Space Witch, so 5 different ones. And I thought that could be really funny, so I've been playing with some different ideas, and I haven't quite decided, because I want them all to be kind of linked stylistically, so I'm playing with some new techniques today. So this is just like a standard superwash sock yarn that I have in here. And I've got my trusty speckling spoon. Okay, so for this one I'm thinking I'm going to be working on some Space Witch. And I've got my speckle game strong. I gotta make sure I get all of the yarn, even the stuff that's not on camera. So every indie dyer speckles a bit differently. Everyone's got their own methods, and they are usually very closely and jealously guarded. There's definitely dyers that have speckling techniques that I would absolutely love to know how they do it, but obviously they've spent years and years and years figuring out their methods just like I have. And because the way that they dye is different, their setups are different, that's going to change and impact how they dye. So this is a different purple. And this one breaks a bit differently. You see that first one I put down breaks, it's got a little bit of blue when the dye breaks out. And the trick with this one is going to be to do a heavy enough speckle that it shows through the over dye that I'm wanting to do, but that it doesn't blend so much that you lose the fact that it is speckled. And it ends up kind of turning into a big blorby mess, which sometimes is okay, but it's not super what I'm going for. It's okay if some parts of it are a bit blorby, I just don't want the whole thing to be blorby. So now I'm adding in some blue. Oh, you can't actually see that. Okay, there you go. Adding in some blue. This is quite an interesting blue dye. It's one of my favorites. I definitely have favorite dyes for sure. This is one of my favorite blue dyes because when you use it just as is, like if you're trying to do a semi-solid, it looks a lot different than if you use it to speckle. If you're using it to speckle, it looks a lot brighter and crisper. But if you do it just on its own to do like a solid dye, it doesn't have the same brightness. It doesn't have that same like level of lightness and clarity to it. This is always interesting. Alright, I'm going to add one more thing, if I can find it. Here it is. I did a couple of test games this morning, and it seemed to turn out okay, so fingers crossed that turns out to be the case. And I know some of you will be looking at me adding this color, and you're thinking, what the hell are you doing? Trust me, it will probably look great. I think it looks great. The test games turned out really well, so I'm thinking that this will be for Space Witch. This is step 1 of either 2 or 3, depending on how I want the final one to turn out. As the test games I did this morning, I was like, I did a 2-step process, and I thought they turned out really well, but I might decide to add a 3rd step. Just give a little bit in here. So this will be Space Witch, assuming that it passes the gamer crafting sniff test, I guess. Alright, Speckle Mania. So now that's going to cook for a while, and I will probably let it cool overnight before I do the next step. So in yesterday or the day before's Vlogmas, I was talking about a burned rainbow sort of set of semi-solids I'm working on. So I've done 2 greens. This is the 2nd green. It looks kind of boring on camera. It's got a lot more like background neon in real life. Maybe if I can just zoom in a little bit on that. So this is the 2nd green I've done. I showed the other one a couple of days ago. So this is kind of like a semi-solid with a bit of like black that kind of drags itself up the skin, kind of like a smudge. That's kind of what I like calling it, is a bit of a smudge. But I think that pairing up, I'm going to end up doing these on different bases. And I think that they would look really cool, like all lined up if you were doing one project to do, because I'm going to sell them as mini skeins as well. These are full-size skeins, I'm doing as minis. So like if you bought a set of mini skeins either in 4-ply or DK, it would be cool to like stripe into a project. That's what I'm thinking anyway. Doesn't have a name yet. None of the burned rainbow minis one. Not just minis. None of the burned shades have names yet. And again, this won't be for everyone. There's probably going to be some of you looking at this being like, ew, it's not my jam. Personally, the purple one is my favorite so far. But yeah. Anyway, so that's finished, and I'm going to go ahead and spin it out now. Okay, I was going to show you it spinning out, but it started overflowing, so I didn't do that. And now I'm going to put it into the drying tower. So the inside of the drying tower, you can see that there's yarn in here on the different shelves. This stuff is dry, so this is ready to come out. Got some mini skeins. I've got some custom stuff. And I've got this. A result of my organization efforts the other day, I found a whole bunch of bronze sparkle sock. Can't really see the bronze. Oh, there you go. You can very barely see it. Bronze sparkle is very subtle, but I've dyed it in the Mammoths in the Sky colorway. It sparkles. That looks kind of hairy, but I promise that it sparkles when the light hits it. So I've got a full set of that. I've got some semi-solids up there, and I've got some experimental dyes. Whoop! I've got some experimental dyes that I did, which I think will go into a special sale because I quite like how they turned out. These are all held together with zip ties so that they don't get tangled. So while this might look a little bit like a Muppet right now, I promise it's not tangled. Just needs a few good snaps. And I've got some more dye experiments here that I was playing with. And then some more experiments, which will now go on the top shelf. So that means that all of this that I just pulled out is going to have to get twisted and labeled either by me or by Sarah. We'll see who has more time today. So typically after we get home from the gym, which sucks and I hate it, I'll sit down and I have lunch at my desk while I catch up on emails or read an article or what have you. That's usually what it is it's usually catching up on emails, especially this time of year, and especially because the post tends to be a bit slower, so people worry, that their stuff isn't gonna come. They worry that it's lost, and I totally get that. As a small business owner, I'm all like, oh, it's totally normal this time of year for things to take a little bit longer. That's totally normal. And as somebody who bought something 5 minutes ago on the internet, I'm like, well, where's my stuff? Can I have it yet? So then the afternoon is more admin and running back and forth to check on yarn and either put more dye in or leave it to cool or put it into the spinner or what have you. But that's basically the gist of this. I did take a mega long video of me just working at the computer, but that's kind of boring, so I'm gonna stop it right now. And then it's usually dinner at the desk as well, most days during the week, which is just kind of how it goes, and that's okay, and I'm okay with it. So I had a salad today, in case you're wondering. So that's usually how it goes, and then I finish up with emails. I try not to respond to emails at all hours of the day and night. I used to do that, and it just got to be way too much. And I got to the point where if I was sitting at my desk, I would end up just feeling like really stressed out, because I'd feel like I'd have to reply to an email or go back to my desk to reply to an email, even if it was, 11 p.m. or something. So I try to keep slightly more agreeable business hours now anyway. I have ordered extras for the Mystery Yarn Club, which closes in just a few days, actually. They close early this month because our pack and ship place closes, I think on the 20th or the 21st. And we don't want to have to go to the local post office because they don't like us there. So we'd rather just be able to drop the last of everything off on the 20th or the 21st at the pack and ship place and be like, we are done for the holidays, and actually take a week or so off to just chill and write and play video games and make music and just kind of relax, which will be really nice after what's been kind of a hectic few months. That's kind of what it is. You saw me doing some twisting and labeling the other night, so I'm not going to show that to you again because it's kind of boring to show you the same thing day in and day out. If you tune in tomorrow, I'll be doing the second part of that test dye that I was doing earlier today. Yeah, and I think that after I edit this vlog while I'm waiting for it to process and upload, I think I'm going to take a shower because I did go to the gym today, so like... I am going to go to take a shower, and I want to do some more knitting on my northeasterly. I actually finished that strip last night, and I didn't think that I would. So I'm really, really glad about that. So now I get to start the next skein. And then that next strip is probably about half done. Almost half done. That's the one that I took with me to Spain as my travel project. So, and then after, so then I think after I do this next one, I think I'm almost caught up. No, I'm not. I still have 2 left, and then I'll have this month's. Yikes. I better get a shift on. So I think after I shower, I'm going to finish up doing some admin, and I'm going to work on that blanket, and I'm also going to be working on setting up the mock-up to kind of show you what I'm thinking about for the 2020 blanket club, because at current, I know in my head what I want it to look like, and I know, I don't know, it's kind of figuring out how to get what's in my noggin out onto something that's going to make sense for people looking at it, if that makes sense. So I think that's going to be my evening. I'm going to shower. I'm going to do some more knitting on the northeasterly. I'm going to do some more admin and stuff that has to get completed. And then tomorrow is kind of another day of the same. Tomorrow I'm doing a photo shoot of some of the new yarns, so that's what I will be doing tomorrow, is a bunch of photography. So I don't know if maybe I'll include that. Might be a bit boring, we'll see. So that's kind of it. So thank you for tuning in. Please do like and subscribe and come back tomorrow for more yarn dyeing, etc.